All right, kids, we know what you were doing. We were just talking about it before we hit go on this Saturday morning hangover cure. Your favorite politically incorrect pop culture podcast. It's Sports Frenzy 2.0, baby. He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
And that's your Uncle Dave, the Conquistador Dave Height.
And we know you were doing tequila shots. You were sucking limes and salt off places that you probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, you were hoping to be sucking on something else, whether you're a man or a woman. Whatever. We're not here to judge. Well, later on we are, but
only if there was video.
But you know what we do here every Saturday morning. This hits on April the 20th, 2024. We are here to get you through the mistakes of last night. We are here to tell you, fry up the eggs, the bacon, the sausage, get the coffee percolating, get a couple Tylenol, a couple aspirin into your system.
And dare we say happy 420?
No!
For the wake and bake kids out there.
No, we are anti-hippie here, Dave. What does the sign say on your back shed?
Don't feed the hippies.
No, I'm not celebrating 420. I'm not. I am an alcohol guy. I'm a beer and whiskey guy. I am not celebrating the potheads.
They may be our listeners.
They may be the last hope for humanity.
Dude, it all brings the room together, man.
Oh, see, now you had to bring Lebowski into it. Now you make me feel bad. One of the few great Podhead and Pineapple Express.
Yeah,
I did like Pineapple Express. And
good.
Cheech and Chong. See, now you got me coming up.
See? We have to acknowledge it.
We don't have to partake.
We don't have to partake, but we acknowledge. And I have to apologize, kids. Last week, I was remiss. I forgot to wish everybody a happy Burt Gummer Day. April 14th. You know, if you watch Tremors, who Burt Gummer is. Anti-government, anti-tax. The day before tax day, April 15th, the 14th is Burt Gummer Day. So happy belated.
Great movie, Tremors. And
great movie series.
I was going to say the 6 movies that came afterwards.
Oh my God. Michael Gross is fantastic.
He's the dad in Family Ties. Come on. No, I agree with you. He's better.
He's better as Burt Gummer.
Again, no hippies. Namby-pamby hippies like he was in that show.
Yes.
Michael J. Fox as the little capitalist. It was easily the best. All right.
Alex P. Keaton.
We move on, as always, to segment 1 here. Even though we do nonstop now, the first segment, the first group of stuff that we talk about is all about rock and roll.
It's about the music, people.
Now, we should note very soon, concert season starts.
First weekend of May kicks off with a bang with a Friday-Saturday double punch.
Yep, so that following week, we will have a double concert review for you. And we just got news here within the last 24, 48 hours that 2 of our favorite bands, 2 separate shows in the fall, Rival Sons and then Roger Clyne and the Peacemakers.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
So this is turning out
awesome.
What looked initially like it could be a little bit of a mellow concert season for us has turned into an absolutely phenomenal one.
And we finally get Rival Sons as the headliners.
Yes. I know nothing about Clutch, the opening act.
We'll delve into them to get ready.
This is the closest we're going to get.
Finally headlining.
So we get a nice hour and 15, hour and a half of them, hopefully, which we have never been blessed with before. So thank goodness.
Yep.
Finally, we're going to get that.
And then we get the fourth time for Roger Clyne and the Peacemakers.
Yep. A repeat performance at Bells up in Kalamazoo, where we saw them the second time.
Yep. So very much looking forward to that.
And that, of course, will push us into our goal every year, double digits in terms of concerts. Got to hit at least 10 every year.
Yep.
That'll push us to 11, I believe, between those two.
That will put us right there. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yep. We have an album review this week. No songs. We're going to push all the songs off to next week because doing things a little different next week. Dave hates Pearl Jam. We all know this.
This is true.
So I am going to be reviewing Pearl Jam's new album, Dark Matter. Your Uncle Dave, I have got a litany of songs. He's going to take on all these songs. He's going to listen to these, review them for you, and I will chime in as I see fit. So you get the week off from an album review.
Unless I find something that I appreciate.
Well, like I said, if you want to listen to that Bruce Dickinson album.
Yeah, I'll pass on that, thanks.
Okay.
I just, from what I've listened to already, no.
Okay. But we will discuss the songs for next week, later on here.
Yes,
we
will.
But first, a long-awaited review.
One of the greatest guitarists in rock, Mark Knopfler. His most recent album, One Deep River.
Yep, 12 tracks. He's never going to be the same. And I say this over and over and over again when it comes to any rock star that leaves a band. The group dynamic makes them better.
It does. And it's never more evident, I think, than in this one. Because he's got nobody to be his foil.
To push him.
Because almost all of these songs sound the same.
I will go with a review I read. I once I've listened to an album, it's not like movies. I don't read movie reviews until I've seen the movie because I don't want spoilers.
Right.
With music, it's different. You can
like,
read a review.
All right, am I this far off base with my thoughts?
Right. Yes, reading a review before you listen to the album can tint the way you listen a little bit. But in the end, it's your personal preference, your taste. But I did read a review that I agree with that said, you split this album in half, right down the middle, 12 tracks. You split it right down the middle. The first half is pretty good. The second half will put you to sleep.
There we go. That sums it up well.
The second half of the album is a cure for insomnia because, unfortunately,
there's nothing.
Like you said, there is no band.
Out.
There is nobody to push him to the
change
greatness.
Things up musically. It's the same tempo,
and we don't
throughout.
And the second half,
and the similar
especially,
chords.
Yeah, the second half we do not get any of the great sterling Mark Knopfler guitar work like we hear peeking through for the most part on the first half,
which really comes through in the first song, Two Pairs of Hands,
which we reviewed here recently, which I love because it reminds me of old Dire Straits.
Yeah, best song on the album.
Absolutely agree.
Starts off with a bang, and then it starts its slow taper. Although Tunnel 13, I love the story.
That's the thing. My notes for this album, starting with song 3, Smart Money, going through Tunnel 13, is where I've got noted that this is where we get the storyteller. Yeah. Mark Knopfler starts to get really in depth with the lyrics.
Yes.
And he's trying to tell you a tale. Of course, Tunnel 13, you mentioned track 6, is almost a Western saga about
a train robbery.
Brother bandits.
Yes.
Yep.
I loved the story, the feel. It had that epic moments that really resonated that I loved as a storyteller.
Yeah, now I also liked Smart Money. I thought Smart Money had a very definite Jimmy Buffett feel to it.
It had that Caribbean vibe,
a little
going.
bit of calypso stuff.
Yes, it had the
Smart Money's not in your dog now. Yep.
Yeah.
And then the following track, Scavenger's Yard, we get some really nasty guitar. I mean,
the guitar work was good. The lyrics weren't that great for me. It was okay.
And he's again trying to tell stories in this one.
Yeah. Black Tie Jumps.
That was the first song where that was the first
That was song. My first. Really?
Yeah. Black Tie Jumps.
Why?
Yes. That's where I said, okay, this is the Mark Knopfler I don't like. When he gets too stuck in a rut, too mellow.
Yeah.
And he doesn't let his guitar out. And he gets more wrapped up in atmosphere. And this one, he's got strings.
Yeah,
And then later on, we've got fiddle. And it's just, once you get past Tunnel 13, the rest of the album, for the most part, is boring.
It's just boring. It's just blah. And
I hate to say that. I do.
I know. I wanted this so bad, but everything was starting to sound repetitive.
I agree.
The tone, the tempo.
I agree.
The chords.
I agree.
And
especially the run from 9 through 11, Sweeter Than the Rain, Before My Train Comes, and one of the greatest song titles of all time. I expected a better song.
Oh, this one's not going to end well.
Yeah.
It was the worst song on the album.
And that's what blew me away, is that how can you make song...
The best song title is the worst song.
Yeah, I will not dispute you on that. I was shocked at how boring that song was.
It was killing me.
And then at the end, you get a little bit of a reprieve, One Deep River.
But it's still not that great.
Well, no, but it's better.
It's better than the previous, but it still doesn't hold to the first half.
I agree. I do agree.
So as much as we anticipated this one, it was a letdown.
It was. And I can't say it surprises me, because his solo career, for the most part, has not been anything close to what he did with Dire Straits. No. Because I will say it.
You need the dynamic of the group to bring it up. And if you're just on your own,
you pick anybody. I'm telling you, you pick any singer who has left a band, and you cannot find one that their solo material
is better than...
You can go to Robert Plant, you can go to Sting,
Lou Gramm,
you can go to Knopfler, obviously.
David Lee Roth.
There you go. Now, Sammy Hagar, he was a solo act first,
right?
So that's different.
He knows how to do the group, the solo coming out of Montrose. He was better solo, morphed into Van Halen, which was decent, good stuff came out of there, and then solo again. He is more a solo guy.
But his second solo run, not as good as his first.
Correct.
Because you're never going to match what he did with Standing Hampton, with VOA.
Right.
Three Lock Box.
God. Phenomenal right there.
And the stuff he came out with after he left Van Halen,
you had a couple of songs that were really good.
Right.
But nowhere near what he was before.
Right. And unfortunately, again, Mark Knopfler falls into that trap. And doesn't shock me, although I think the thing that frustrates me the most,
his guitar didn't shine through.
Well, and again. The thing is, the 3 songs that were released first, 3 best songs on the album, and I guess that's the way it should be, right? Yeah. You're going to release the best first, but the such a drop off from those 3 to the rest, with a few exceptions, is just disappointing. Sad. I can only give One Deep River 2 frenzies.
Yeah, 2. That's where I'm at with it.
If you're not a diehard, true blue Mark Knopfler fan, this is not going to draw you in.
Even if you're a diehard true blue Knopfler fan, you can't give it more than 2.5 at most. It's just blah.
It is. It's very dull. It is very dull. And I was worried about that because this is what he's done again in the past with his previous solo work, is that it tends to be more on the mellow side, a little bit of the country tinge to it.
And he's got the morose vibe going.
Right.
And he needs...
And nobody's saying he has to rock it out. He never did that with Dire Straits.
No, but they came close to more of the up-tempo vibe that got you moving and grooving a little bit more instead of just the constant, oh my God, why do I want to sit here with the lights turned low feeling
Yeah, no, I agree. I think unfortunately on this one we agree. Can't recommend, just sad to say.
Yeah.
Can't recommend.
As much as we love Knopfler.
Yeah.
As a guitarist, a singer, and a lyricist for what he has done before, this falls well short.
Yep. And one last time, too many yes people sounds like around him. Too many people saying, you do whatever you want, Mark, and we'll play the drums and we'll play the bass, and you do whatever you want, for better or for worse. And it usually turns out to be
for the worse.
A snore fest.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, next week, I will have my review of the new Pearl Jam album, Dark Matter. But I
may tweak in with a song or two. I will give some of it a shot. I will listen if there's... I like the title track, Dark Matter.
Right. No, I'm not expecting... But we've done this before. We did it with Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
But we have 4 songs for next week. We have pushed off a review of The Effect and Toxic Envy for another week. So one more week, and then we will come back with a review of that. Of course, it's kind of a super group.
Yeah.
With Phil Collins' kid on drums and Steve Lukather of Toto, his kid on guitar.
We'll see what they can do.
Finally! Collective Soul has released after us waiting for weeks and weeks, and we knew it was coming. But it took them forever, and they still say mid-May, the double album's coming.
Right.
But now we have the official first single, which we all knew it was Mother's Love. Mother's Love is out. We will review that for you next week.
Yes, we will. Oh, so looking forward to that.
We have a new David Lee Roth song.
Oh, God help us.
Right now, only available on YouTube. Very interesting how he's been doing this, where he releases the new songs only on YouTube, and then a couple weeks later, they hit Spotify and all the streaming services. New song from David Lee Roth, Scotch and Sofa.
Okay.
Scotch and Sofa.
Let me sip my scotch while I sit on my sofa with my dog.
Jeez, not that bad, no.
Are you sure?
Finally, the second release from Slash and his upcoming blues cover album, Orgy of the Damned. Now, this one he's doing with Chris Stapleton.
Ooh, interesting.
Cover of Oh Well. So there you go. You get 4 songs for next week. And, again, Pearl Jam from me with Dark Matter.
I might have 1 or 2 songs.
You throw in what you want.
We'll see.
A little bit of news here, wrapping up music before we move on in our nonstop format. to movies. This one slipped under my radar. Just discovered it today. It's coming out.
She slipped you a Mickey.
Yeah, Elaine slipped me a Mickey. May the 31st. Rat. Rarities. A collection of demos, cover songs, live songs never before heard. And I am a huge Rat fan. You know this, Dave. So the fact that it took me this long.
Lord have mercy.
Including on this.
Steve Piercy and company.
The old classic lineup. Including on this. What I have read, what I understand, the first ever recorded version of Round and Round.
The
rehearsal
demo
of Round and Round. The first ever
before
known recording.
It's tweaked.
Yes.
And massaged.
So we will probably break our rules here. Normally we do not do these type of albums. We prefer new stuff.
Oh, dude, it's rad. We have to do this.
But again, a lot of live stuff, a couple demos.
We have to do this.
So coming out May the 31st, Rarities from Rat.
Oh, you know we're all over that. The only thing that could be better would be if maybe Cinderella would do something like this.
Boy, I still don't know if they're stuck on that contract.
I know that contract bullshit. God, the more I listen to Cinderella, I think they become my favorite hair band overall.
And again, only 4 albums because
of their
yeah.
They got screwed.
If you've done any research on Cinderella and you wonder why they've never put out new music ever since Still Climbing was their last album, it's because they signed an abysmal record contract.
They had a horrible agent that effed them over big time.
Basically blocking them from recording as a group.
Yeah. Which is sad. Because
and now we've lost one of the members of Cinderella is dead.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Finally in music. Again, we're moving on to movies here in just a second, but I know Dave will appreciate this.
Why is my eye twitching?
Next week, here on the weekend edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0, we will discuss and debate the new inductees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Dave. You know why?
Because Dave Matthews made it?
No, they have not been announced yet as we're taping. And even as this hits, Saturday morning the 20th, they have not been announced yet. Do you know why?
Because Jan Winter is a bitch?
No, they got rid of him finally. That's why Foreigner actually has a shot. No. In the first time ever. Bullshit stunt. They will announce the new inductees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on Sunday night during American Idol.
Oh, for the love of God, quit pandering to the bullshit! Can we get rid of the stupid-ass singing shows, please?
I heard on, which one's Katy Perry on? Isn't she on American Idol? Which one is she on?
No,
I think she is.
No, she's not on American Idol.
Yeah, and she had some kind of
No,
weird...
she's on that stupid fucking dress-up mass singer bullshit.
that's McCarthy. She's the big bosom twit on that one. I think it's American Idol.
Oh, God help us.
But I guess...
I don't know. I don't give a shit. I don't watch the crap.
Well, this one caught my attention because I read that she had a wardrobe malfunction. So I had to do some deep diving into this.
Did you find the still where something popped?
No,
it was nothing that
something
good.
Popped, but nobody got it on camera. There's no nip. There's no Janet Jackson moment.
Then what the hell's worth? Then why bring it up? Unless they're are
protuberances.
Brown,
brown
unless there are redeeming qualities. Why do you bring it up?
A tease. A little bit of a tease. Just like Katy Perry is a little bit of a tease.
I want redeeming qualities.
We all want redeeming qualities, Dave. Each and every day of our life, especially as you get older, you want redeeming qualities.
These are the things you live for. That and a good beer.
I thought you were going to say something else. Something involving the word job.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little shot ahead.
There you go. Yep, there you go. All right, time to move on to movies. All right, so now this is one of the rare occasions where Dave and I actually have the same movie review. It all boils down to what streaming services he and I have, and then he goes out to the movie theaters more than I do. So coming up, will have...
Coming up, the family, we're making the trip to the theater to see The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. This looks brilliant.
Guy Ritchie,
my God, one of the greatest directors out there for action movies. Henry Cavill, probably the least serious role he's ever been in. Looks like he has so much fun with this movie. We are dying to see.
And we've got, of course, Jack Reacher, Alan Rickson in as well.
Alan Rickson's in it. I mean, this looks like it's going to be fantastic. I hope I'm not overhyped and disappointed, but I'll let you know next weekend, kids.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, we will all be taking a Sports Frenzy movie night out for The Fall Guy.
Yes.
Coming in early May. So we will have
we've got some stuff coming out of the theater
stuff. But for now, we are stuck with streaming. So now we have this week on Peacock, the latest from Blumhouse, as they churn out horror movies. It seems like every couple weeks.
Yeah.
This is Night Swim.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
Because we remember the magic from back when we were younger of the great horror movies and the thrill and the visceral excitement you get from a really good, well-done horror movie, even though we haven't seen many in the last couple decades.
Now, we had the great run from the late 70s to the early 90s, where you had brilliant horror movie after brilliant horror movie.
Yep, we had Halloween, we had Nightmare on Elm Street. If you want to count sci-fi,
Prince of Darkness, Children of the Corn.
Right. If you want to count sci-fi, Alien and The Thing. And then later on,
you had Predator thrown in there.
Right. Saw, Final Destination.
Oh, God. Final Destinations were brilliant. Yep. Saw continues on still being good.
Yep. I think the only one that jumps out at me recently that I remember off the top of my head being really, really good was The Black Phone.
Yes, that is. Yeah, Black Phone was phenomenal.
But unfortunately, again, everything else is recycled Stephen King, reboots, remakes.
And just crap.
Yep. So Night Swim.
I liked the premise. The backstory was there as you got into it. It just fell short.
Bad execution.
Horrible. Bad execution. Horrible execution.
And of course, I love the pun when we're talking about horror movie. Bad execution. But I couldn't agree with you more.
We've seen worse, but we've seen so much better. This was just
now, I know
generic crap.
People are not going to agree with me on my comparison here, but I said the same thing about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, in that the idea behind it could have been good.
Yes.
If they put some money into it, if they put some thought into it, put some more time into it, it seemed like it was almost rushed.
Yeah. The story was there, but the writing lacked everything. There was
we're not gonna spoil anything for you, but giving you the plot from the first 30, 45 minutes is not spoiling things. We are dealing with a swimming pool. Yes, a haunted swimming pool, but the nuggets and the pieces of information they give you
lead you down the road where
it's a natural pool. It is fed from a natural spring with warm water, so that you're going, okay, that could explain some things. You know, what's coming in from the earth, what's coming in. And then you start getting the goofy, bad makeup effects of these souls that are supposedly trapped in there. One girl in particular who we're introduced to early on, and I still don't understand what her point was in the whole thing other than maybe
trying to bridge and help and say, I got screwed by my family. I'm trying to help you avoid this situation.
Right. Now, the other thing about the plot that, again, could have been better, great idea, could have been better, was the fact that the pool taketh, and the pool giveth. So for every person in the family
who receives something, somebody has to pay the ultimate price.
Right, the sacrifice. So again, there are pieces there in Night Swim that could have resulted in a good, solid movie.
The execution lacked.
Yes.
Again, the acting was not...
I don't know if the acting was bad so much as...
I think the script just fell short.
Yes, I think it's more about the script.
The script and the writing. Why did we pay the writers more?
Because now Wyatt Russell, we like Wyatt Russell, stars in this.
Yep.
Kurt Russell's son. Of course, from that wonderful 2-season
Brilliant show. Lodge 49.
Right. And of course, he's also in Apple TV's Monarch: Legacy of Monsters.
Again, and then there was the war movie that he was in.
Overlord. Yeah, very
he
good.
He was fantastic in Overlord. He seemed to coast on this one.
A little bit. He plays a former baseball star suffering from
MS.
Right. And then, of course, the water to him giveth.
Yes. But the rest of the family it tries to taketh.
Right.
I've seen worse, but I've seen so much better.
Yeah, there was only so much I could put up with the puking up the dark water and the dark water leaking from the eyes.
We've seen the dark water before, and it's...
Didn't we see it in X-Files?
Oh my God, we've seen
black oil.
We've seen it in so many damn movies and TV shows.
That was probably the most irritating thing for me of all of the movie. Was
it's been there, done that.
The recycled crap leaking from the eyes, and that was probably the most irritating part of the whole thing. I, again, will be a little bit generous. I will give it a week, not a recommendation. I will give it a week 2 frenzies for, just like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, having an idea that could have been done better.
Yes, I am with you there. Mrs. C agrees. She and I both watched it because she's a sucker for a horror movie.
We all are.
But, and we're watching it and we're like, do we want... Yeah, we've seen worse that we've stuck through. Right. We've seen better. Let's run it out.
And I'll still say more recently, again, we are connoisseurs of bad horror movies. More recently, I think Smile had to be the worst. And luckily, you have not subjected
myself.
And they're making a sequel to that.
Oh my God, why?
That was awful. That was awful.
I refuse to watch that based on your review of it.
That was because you know, I will tell you if I see a horror movie that's got any kind of potential, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
No, Smile, stay away from that trash, that dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And again, they're making a sequel.
Idiots in Hollywood reign supreme.
All right, I have another movie review. Now,
Are we going story time?
Well, see, now I could go story time, but technically, by the rules of Sports Frenzy,
you've never seen it before,
right.
So it's not a story time.
But it could be, because this ties into our big Oscar project.
Okay.
Now, this is not one of the movies we discussed looking back at the past winners, but we did discuss In the Heat of the Night.
Yes.
Now, I recently watched In the Heat of the Night. I was underwhelmed, but still thought it was good.
It hasn't aged as well as some. But you gotta look at performances by the characters, right. By the actors.
I decided to delve into the second movie in the Virgil Tibbs trilogy.
Did you now?
I watched They Call Me Mr. Tibbs. And nowhere in the movie is that uttered. Of course, that is the line from In the Heat of the Night.
Right.
But now Virgil Tibbs, wasn't he supposed to be in Philadelphia in the Heat of the Night?
Started there and then went to the South.
Right. Right. Now he's in the second movie, he ends up in San Francisco. So Virgil Tibbs is now a detective in San Francisco.
Now he's in California.
And he is trying to track down the murderer of a prostitute.
Bum, bum, bum.
We have 3 prime suspects, including Edward Asner, in one of the few times he has ever worn his full toupee. I read that. That's true. That is true.
This is true. You are correct in that.
You have Martin Landau as a preacher / politician who the community loves. He's trying to get pushed, a certain proposition pushed through. I believe Proposition 4 is what it was called in the movie. So he's got a lot of the hippies, the cool kids on his side, the community organizers. And then, of course, you have the scuzzy landlord of the building where the prostitute was killed, the great, always a great scuzzbag, Anthony Zerbe.
Oh, God.
So which one of these 3 was responsible for the death of the prostitute? Now, all 3 of them have varying degrees of possibilities of guilt, but it's up to, of course, the stellar Detective Virgil Tibbs to figure out which.
The brilliant Sidney Poitier.
Yes, and in this case, I cannot say the material, the writing matches up with the greatness of the lead actor.
No, it doesn't.
This is a very standard, basic murder mystery.
It was a definite, let's throw this together to take advantage of In the Heat of the Night.
Yep. And
it's a classic Hollywood money grab.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of action in it. It's more of a procedural mystery where it's a lot about the evidence and
we
the
like
forensics.
That type of thing. We can appreciate it to a point.
Right. You get a long, drawn-out foot chase between Sidney Poitier and Anthony Zerbe, and then you have the conflicting friendship with Tibbs and Landau's character, who know each other, respect each other, admire each other. So is Tibbs going to let his friendship bias his investigation? There is a little bit of, as you would expect, carryover from In the Heat of the Night in terms of the racism, not quite as overt,
right,
as it was in the Deep South.
It's an undertone.
Yeah, the white detective is always told he's in charge of the investigation, undercutting Tibbs, basically telling Tibbs, you're in the background, even though
you're doing all the work.
Even though the detective they put in charge knows Tibbs is better.
Yeah.
And defers to him and admits it. they're stuck with an asshole for a boss. Unfortunately, I can only do, again, 2 Frenzies. I just didn't think it was a well-done movie.
It's a letdown.
As you said, I think they were trying to capitalize very quickly on the popularity of the Virgil Tibbs character.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I will watch the 3rd in the trilogy or not. The Organization, we'll see.
I have not gone there myself based on they call me Mr. Tibbs.
Yeah.
Now, and again, it's one of those, I've seen more of those late 60s, mid 70s. I've gone back and watched those more than you have.
Yeah, and I've watched a lot of them, so we'll see. We'll see where I go. I still have to watch The Sting as my next old movie before I lose access to that.
Yeah, I've watched that several times.
Now, next week, we've already talked about Dave's going out to the theater. I will watch and have a review of Argyle for you on Apple TV Plus.
I do not have Apple Plus, so I'm intrigued to find out what you think about that.
So it's Henry Cavill week next week.
It is.
And that's
we have a theme.
I like Henry Cavill.
I like Henry Cavill.
Great in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Brilliant as Superman. Great in The Witcher.
Yep. So no problems with doing a Henry Cavill week here on Sports Frenzy.
We got you covered.
Yep. So Argyle and the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare next week for you. Do have some movie news to bounce off your Uncle Dave. Get his reaction. I love to do this.
The visceral gut reactions.
Now we've talked about The Naked Gun.
We have Liam Neeson will be playing Frank Drebin.
And now it has been announced his love interest in The Naked Gun will be Pamela Anderson. Which somehow fits.
Alrighty then. Oh, wait, wrong character.
And of course,
does her beaver get stuffed?
They've got to make a beaver joke, don't they? They have got to.
You have to.
You have to have the siren at the beginning in the credits, in the opening credits, right?
Yes.
In the music.
You have to.
Yes, the siren goes through the girls' locker room and all that.
Yes. And then you have to have the beaver reference.
Yes.
Everywhere I looked, I saw things that reminded me of her.
And maybe an appearance by Enrico Palazzo. We shall see. We shall see. I know, I'm worried.
I'm
worried.
Scared.
Next summer we will find out.
I am so scared.
This is one that could be brilliant or could be an absolute train wreck, and I don't think there's any middle ground.
No, it's going to be a brilliant readaptation, or it's going to just
crash and burn.
Yeah.
All right, now we have talked about the fact that we love Westerns. Absolutely love Westerns. And we have talked about how we're looking forward to Kevin Costner's upcoming epic Horizon.
Oh my God, Horizon.
But I did not realize. I knew that Horizon,
there's
2 parts.
3 parts.
4.
4?
4
parts?
Yes. Initially, until this past week, no, 4 parts.
I knew this year there were going to be 2.
Right.
And then there was going to be a 3rd, but now there's 4.
Costner wants to play all 4 of these back to back to back to back. A 12-hour marathon.
Oh,
once he releases all 4 of them.
You do know.
I'll have to bring a colostomy bag to the theater.
We're going to be wearing Depends for this one. I don't know if my oldest Connor will be in. I know Nick is all in to see a Western. Nick is my Western guy.
Yep. Yep.
So at least there's going to be at least 3 of us, maybe 4 of us.
But we're not going to wait.
Well, no.
We're not going to wait until all 4 are out.
No, we're going to see them as they come out.
Right.
Yeah. Come on. We're not that.
But I give the man credit. He's adventurous. To say that next year he wants all 4 a 12-hour run in the theaters, back to back to back to back, for all 4 parts of Horizon.
Oof.
Now,
I will say, if anybody could pull off the master epic Western, it's going to be Costner.
Well, he's done it in the past with Dances with Wolves,
Silverado, Wyatt Earp. He knows Open Range. He knows Westerns. And we all appreciate what he has done for that genre.
And I think I saw something today where initially Chris Hemsworth was rumored to be the star of Horizon, but Costner said, no, I'm not that old yet. As long as I'm young enough to do it, ride a horse, and pull off the action scenes, this is my baby. I'm doing it.
Hell yeah. And I appreciate that.
Yep.
Costner can do Westerns. He is brilliant when he does them.
Yep. Now, we've heard of Comic-Con, right? We know Comic-Con.
Yeah.
This past weekend, or within the last couple of weeks, we had CinemaCon, which I guess is the big showcase for the next year's worth of movies. Not just comic book stuff.
Okay, but all...
Right. Although it sounds a lot like, when I tell you what the big news is coming out of CinemaCon, it's going to sound a lot like Comic-Con.
Well, of course it will.
This will probably excite you more than it does me. Because this is one of those horror movies that I thought was trash. And I think you liked it more than me. Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Another? Oh, no.
Coming out in the fall of 2025.
1 was enough.
I thought it was garbage.
1 was enough.
I like Night Swim better than I like Five Nights at Freddy's.
1 was enough. They should not do another Freddy's. Sorry. Bye-bye. Hard pass.
I don't watch the Transformers movies. I don't watch the G.I. Joe movies, but I guess we're getting a combo.
You're getting like you had the crossover.
There was a hint,
cartoons.
I guess, at the last Transformers movie.
Yep.
Hinted at the end that we're getting a Transformers G.I. Joe combo flick.
Yes.
Coming soon.
You've never watched the Jack Ryan series on Prime?
No, I've seen all the movies, but not the TV series.
Okay.
Because, I don't like Krasinski as an actor.
Okay.
I just don't. And I don't think I don't like him as Jack Ryan.
That's
just
fine.
like you don't like Tom Cruise as Jack Reacher.
There you go. Going back to the title escapes me, but the political run with Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright.
Oh, House of Cards.
House of Cards. His fixer.
Okay, yeah.
He is in Jack Ryan playing a character, Mike. At the end of the last Transformers, he's recruiting the one guy who was working with the Autobots to join G.I. Joe. And he always plays a great character. He's
I know who you're talking
one of the
about,
great character actors right now.
I know who you're talking about, yep.
So.
Yep.
I'm intrigued.
And I'll admit, I have a disdain for generic Hollywood entertainment, so I have never watched a single G.I. Joe movie. Never watched a one, and I have only watched one Transformers. They don't do it for me.
The Transformers for me are like, I was never into them. I was more into the G.I. Joe. And the G.I. Joe movies I appreciated more. I cringe at the thought of the crossover. I hated the cartoon crossover back in the 80s. I had a disdain for that then. And I hate that they're trying to do that now.
Oh, when we get to TV and streaming, we're going to talk some more about animation, by the way. But a couple more things in movies before we move on. Again, more from CinemaCon. More reboots, Dave. I know how much you love reboots.
Oh, God, both eyes are twitching.
Now, this one I know you don't care about because I don't. But they're bringing back Scary Movie again.
Oh, come on! It was no, just stupid. Done. They're awful.
Can I ask you something? Why does everybody think the Wayans brothers are so damn funny?
They're not.
They're getting a TV show coming up this year on CBS, I think.
Why?
The Scary Movie stuff.
Their time has passed by. They're done. Cut. Done.
What was it? In Living Color, was it, right?
Yeah. They were good in Living Color.
Yeah,
boom, done.
Yeah.
Gone. Bye-bye. No more.
Now this one, boy, I don't know how I feel about this one. Maybe this one might work because the original could use a little bit of an upgrade, an update. They are also rebooting The Running Man.
Just fucking stop.
Well, they can't come up with anything new. You know this. I know this. Everybody out there knows this. They can't come up with anything new.
No,
they're bereft of new ideas.
No. Did I say no?
You said no.
I think I said no.
Finally, last one. Now we know the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
are done to death.
Have had a resurgence, right?
Can we just make turtle soup and be done?
Well, the next one will be R-rated. So cowabunga, dude. They are doing an R-rated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Are we going to have redeeming qualities?
What was the reporter's name in that?
Oh, God.
She could be a hot little box of rocks. Yeah. And then again...
April?
That sounds right. Yes.
April Rose?
Was Megan Fox in one of them?
No, she was in Transformers.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm getting those mixed up. But April sounds right, yeah. She had a yellow jumpsuit.
Yes.
Yep. And she zips that down.
Slowly
Again, Donatello goes cowabunga.
Raphael goes...
Yeah. I'd like to take some pizza and rub it all over those. All right. Time to move on. Now, for books, did you have a book review this week?
I do not.
Okay. I will have one next week.
What will you have?
You want me to tell you or you want me to surprise you? No, it's nothing you and I have talked about.
All right, then never mind.
It's a surprise.
So
I will say...
I'm still slowly trying to give you a chance with Harbor Lights.
I know. And
You're killing me, Smalls.
I failed you on this because the book I'm going to review ties in more to a theme, a general theme we've been discussing overall in the last month or two.
I'm halfway through Harbor Lights. It's killing me to not finish it, trying to give you the opportunity.
I will be diving full on into it the next 2 days. Now, I've already started it. I'm halfway through the second story, but I got distracted.
Okay. Should we discuss...
You know I have ADD when it comes to books.
Should we discuss Harbor Lights, the first story?
Well, see, I know that's the thing, is that you want to split it up, and I'm beginning to think you might be right. So maybe next week we discuss the first two stories.
We can do that.
Let's do that.
All right.
Harbor Lights, of course, by the great James Lee Burke.
The greatest American author of this last century.
Yes. Short stories. So we're talking about splitting up Harbor Lights into reviewing the short stories as opposed to the whole book. So I think I'm gonna lean with your Uncle Dave on this and say yes. So I will have a special book review next week, and then I will be ready for two.
And
stories.
I will try and have Sanford's most recent.
And I told you can go with that.
Yeah.
I'm not outside of when Virgil
the
Flowers
Lucas
is
and
in
Letty Davenport crossover I will have for you.
You can go to town on that. Yeah, but Virgil's not in it. I don't care anymore. I kind of faded out on the Prey books if it's no Virgil Flowers. So that's cool. So let us move on to TV and streaming and our review of season 3 of Resident Alien.
But alas, I did not watch the final Resident Alien.
You promised me!
I got hosed this weekend by family stuff.
You do have another review, though, I know.
I do. The boys and I watched Fallout, all 8 episodes. So we'll tell you about that on Spotify, Google, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, damn it!
Otherwise known as iHeartRadio. Still not sure about the Google thing.
It's still up in the air.
Yeah, so that could be valid, might not be. Maybe next week they're gone forever from our rundown, but
we'll see. We'll adapt and adjust. But find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
All right. I will give a very generic quick review of Resident Alien Season 3. And then you can go to town on Fallout.
Friggin' damn praying mantis. That's the one that killed me.
I will give you a warning about the final episode. As luckily they did not decide to do the split season thing like they did that destroyed season 2. But I will say that the final episode of season 3 tends to run to that same feel, the more serious, more action-oriented stuff that we got in season 2. So season 3, all up until that point, we got a lot more of the funny Harry Vanderspiegel.
The good sheriff.
Yep, and then at the end, it kind of reverts back to, we need to set up a plot. We need to set up a cliffhanger for the next season. So we got to take things seriously and got to have all this sci-fi action bullshit. So they kind of, at the end, almost erase all the goodwill they brought back through the first 7 episodes. So we get the requisite cliffhanger, which is obvious. Let me just say this.
Well, you knew that was going to be there.
Well, what you can tell. Let's put it this way. The audience is obviously going to end up being a lot more intelligent seeing what's going on at the end of episode 8.
This is the bullshit!
The characters are. The characters go, what? And we're all going, oh my God, can't you see this? How stupid are you?
As Harry the Alien would say, this is the bullshit.
So I have to knock it down a little bit based on the last episode. I have to. I was thinking about giving it back up to that lofty 3.5 frenzy range, but now didn't like the ending as much. So I will give season 3 of Resident Alien, despite how much I love Alan Tudyk, I will give season 3 a solid 3 frenzies.
All right. I will finish it up for you next week. This week, Fallout on Prime. I have watched my kids play Fallout 3, Fallout 4. The other piece in there, they were geeked for it. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it with you. I know the storyline, the basics to it. And of course, it's got the great Walter Goggins.
With a mess of makeup all over him.
Oh my God, playing the ghoul. He is brilliant. Of course.
We love him from Justified.
From Justified, he was the unicorn He's just a great actor. He's just one of those guys that you would want to go hang out and have a beer with. And playing the ghoul, does not disappoint. But the entire cast, the whole setup for Fallout, it follows, as the boys say, it has the canon of the entire Fallout. Fallout 2, both just PC based. Fallout 3, 4, New Vegas. It from Xbox, PlayStation, everything. Easter eggs galore throughout the whole thing. They did a phenomenal job telling the story, covering everything through the makeup. Everything is there. All the factions. The boys, having delved into it more, playing it, gave it a solid 4.
Wow.
Me, knowing the basics, appreciating it, I will give it a solid 3.5. They did, the production company doing it, working with Bethesda, who created the whole video game franchise. It's awesome. It is brilliant. It leaves you with a cliffhanger. All the canon is there. We couldn't have hoped for anything better.
Wow.
I mean, they for a video game series coming out, be it movie, whatever, this was extremely well done, well thought out and executed.
Yeah, and between that and between Twisted Metal on Peacock, I've kind of been intrigued by.
Twisted Metal, I have yet to delve into. I'm hesitant. I've played the games. I just don't know that transitions well. So I've been hesitant on that. But I will get to it.
And I've never been a big fan of the video games to film genre anyway.
Yeah. It's got to be the right. They failed pretty much with Tomb Raider. That did not go well twice. They did well with.
You could go back through Doom. You could go.
Doom was not
Max Payne.
done. Max Payne was
Prince
not
of Persia.
Done.
I mean, there's so many out there.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Silent Hill.
I know it ran its course.
Now, you liked Uncharted.
Uncharted was very well done. They hit that brilliantly. So that was really good. I am my youngest Nick and I are waiting. They're supposed to be doing the samurai saga. God, now it escapes me and it's killing me to do this. Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, okay. That one doesn't do anything for me.
It's a great gameplay with Genghis Khan trying to take over a Japanese island, one of the islands. So we are anticipating that becoming a movie, and it's a fantastic game.
There you go, kids. Not much higher praise can be given. 4 stars, 4 frenzies,
3.5
from
4.
You. Yeah,
it's Fallout is great, and we cannot wait for the next season because there's more to go.
So I'm assuming you guys did not start Parish yet.
No, we did not get to Parish yet.
Okay. I did start I watched the first episode. And of course, I know you and your youngest love Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes.
I will say this, and I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. The first episode did not excite me enough to the point where I will still watch. But
it's
not
not
like
must-see
right,
after the first one.
right. It doesn't get me going like, oh my god, I can't wait to watch the rest of this.
It's going to be a
It's
slow build.
it's standard. Once you know the initial premise that he is a driver pulled back in, trying to go legit, pulled back into the old criminal ways. We've seen this story
Been there, done that.
tons of times before. And I don't see yet anything that's going to make
Baby
me feel
driver,
it's different.
it's the driver, it's...
Right. The same old, same old. Yep, the driver left his career in crime behind as a getaway driver, starts a family, gets pulled back in.
Yeah, Ryan O'Neal.
So far, Now I have also watched the first 3 episodes of Sugar on Apple TV Plus.
Jealous on this one.
Yeah, this is Colin Farrell playing a
old
school noir detective, or is he? This is the part of the show that I don't know yet. I don't know what's going on yet.
Is it noir or modern day?
It is modern day, but it has the noir feel to it. He dresses up very, very nattily, always in suits and ties and very particular about how he handles himself. And, you got the dames, the booze, and all that type of stuff.
The great gams and the...
But as you go through the first 3 episodes, there are hints and teases that there is something weird going on.
No.
And so at one point, Sugar, again, played by Colin Farrell, cool as hell. One of the coolest actors out there. Love Colin Farrell. He's right up there with Ryan Gosling. He's drinking with Amy Ryan. Remember Amy Ryan? She won an Oscar for Gone Baby Gone.
Yes.
And she mentions at one point, she says, "You're not getting drunk." And they're doing $100 shots of expensive whiskey. I think this happens beginning of episode 2. And he says, "My metabolism runs 50 times faster than the normal human, so I don't get drunk." And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then we start to hear other things about...
Are we going alienish?
That is where I think it's going.
Oh, for the love of...
Because his best friend, this woman...
Sam Francisco?
This woman, his best friend, at one point says, we're only here to observe.
Do her eyes blink sideways?
No, we're not getting any of that weird shit yet, but these little drops and hints lead me to believe that we might be dealing with an alien instead of an actual noir detective. Which will be fine, because then I don't have to worry about watching the rest of it, and I can dump Apple when my free trial ends.
Well, there you go.
But I will say this. It is more intriguing than Parrish. Because at least
there's still got there.
And it's still got the mystery. He's still trying to solve the mystery. And dead bodies all around and all that. This whole possible alien sideshow hasn't reared its ugly head yet, instead of the occasional hint. So we'll see. Episode 4. As you're listening to this, I will have watched episode 4, and maybe things will become clearer.
Or murkier.
And yeah, again, things might be muddier than the first 3. A couple other things I've delved into, just briefly. Good old stuff, bad new stuff. Happen to be poking around on...
That's what she said.
Oh, David, I set you up for that. After watching They Call Me Mr. Tibbs on Freevee, I start poking around, and I happen to stumble upon, even though I have the DVDs, was a lot easier just to hit a button, say play.
Well, yeah.
Without having to dig out my discs. The classic Friday night show from the 80s. Stingray.
Yes.
With the great Nick Mancuso.
Yes.
I started watching Stingray the other night.
Oh, let's just throw the big light bar on the front of the split window Stingray. And as you turn the corner, hit the button and the lights change so you don't know you're being followed by the same vehicle.
Oh, Stingray is so good. They could never really find that show. They became popular after Miami Vice. They could never find that next show. They tried, Manimal, I think, one year.
God, Manimal was...
Now, Private Eye was fantastic.
But
you cannot find Private Eye anywhere. But I loved it. That was the first appearance of Josh Brolin ever.
Right.
And then Stingray was phenomenal. Love Stingray. Yeah. The mysterious man who solves mysteries.
Yep, he was the equalizer with the cool car.
Yep. And then I made it through 5 minutes of this one. And maybe I was just being too harsh. But I was looking back at good old times. Oh, did I say good times? Oh. Netflix has premiered the animated Good Times. And yeah.
What?
Anybody expecting anything remotely close to the classic original sitcom with J.J. Walker and Esther Roll and John Amos, you will be sorely.
Did they make it a farce?
No, it's nasty, current day ghetto humor, rap humor. It doesn't have any of the charm, any of the good vibes, the good feelings of the original.
Where they actually were promoting family values?
No, not even close. Not even close. Like I said, 5 minutes, so I can't judge completely based on that, but didn't get the original theme song, get some kind of nasty rap monstrosity as the opening theme. And again, keep in mind it's animated, but this is good times for the current generation, and that should scare you. That should scare you to hell right there when I say that.
So nothing family related where they're trying to...
No, it's crude, very crude. Crude and rude.
So it's worse than Boondocks.
I never watched Boondocks, so I know what you're talking about, but I never watched it. Yeah. Now, something that Dave and I, over the weekend, never thought we would actually say ever again in our lifetime, but there was actually a funny Saturday Night Live skit.
Oh, my God.
Who would have thought they had it in them?
Oh, my God. This was the greatest frickin' Saturday Night Live skit in, 20 years?
Yes. Ryan Gosling, of course, had to be the host, so he had to be involved in Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, my God.
And watching the cast crack up, they could not get through it.
Oh, my God.
Because the makeup people did a phenomenal job.
They did fantastic. I'm sorry, what was her name? The
host?
The actress who was the Fox Nation interviewer.
Right. I don't know her name. She's on the commercials for Homes.com.
Yeah. She could not have seen or known.
No, she didn't know. She didn't know
what the makeup was going to be
for
the guys. And it was obvious that it just...
Because she turned around... She turned around and saw Butthead and just lost it. It was kind of like Jimmy Kimmel used to do.
Have you ever watched Beavis and Butthead? No, I was pretty and went to parties and hooked up. Oh, God. That was the best skit in forever from SNL.
If you have not seen it, go out
and
on
the
YouTube.
and the end. And next we'll hear from some gentlemen from Texas who lost their jobs to AI.
And if you don't know what's coming after that,
shame on you.
But yes.
Oh,
phenomenal skit.
It was fantastic.
We have to give the new SNL credit for this one.
Yeah,
I prefer to give credit to Ryan Gosling.
Oh my God!
Because when you have the right host, you can pull off these types of skits.
But give it to the writers for once for having something fantastic to do.
Yeah.
And to pull it all together. Oh.
So we know Tulsa King is coming back soon. They're filming season 2. The great Paramount Plus show with Sylvester Stallone.
Amid the
toxic
workplace accusations. Come on. Just shut up already. Quit being the snowflake bitch.
If the scene in question was supposed to take place at a more hip bar with younger people, then Stallone and the director had every right to be pissed off.
Yeah,
and say, why are you bringing in old people and old fat guys?
Yeah, this is not what this is supposed to be.
That's what the whole thing is circulating around is.
Oh, they made disparaging remarks.
And all these little extras get on social media and bitch and piss and moan. Oh, Sylvester Stallone called me fat.
Yeah, well, you probably are, you piece of garbage.
And again, if the scene was supposed to feature a younger, more upscale hip bar, you don't want an overweight 50-year-old man parading around in right behind Stallone in the forefront in the scene. That's not the vibe they were going for.
Right.
They fired the casting agency.
As they should have.
But of course, they're taking the heat now because they verbally abused all the snowflakes. I hate Hollywood so much.
We were promised there was going to be an earthquake that would drop California into the ocean.
Well, Dave, we talked about reboots in movies, so let's talk about reboots in TV.
I'm sorry, did I growl on that one?
Big growl. Coming up in a couple weeks.
That's right.
In rock and roll.
Seether, baby.
I know how much you love Melrose Place. They're bringing it back.
I never watched it to
begin with. I'm joking!
Why the
And Heather Locklear is coming back.
She's a great grandma to who?
You know they're going to have to work that in somehow, where it's the next generation.
She's the gilf.
The next generation of Melrose Place. And they'll all play like you're saying. The Real Housewives of Melrose Place.
Oh, Lord.
They're also bringing back, because again, Hollywood has no new ideas. They're also bringing back Heroes.
Oh, come on! That was awful!
And they're also bringing back Cold Case.
Why?
Because they don't have new ideas. SWAT got renewed again.
Oh, Jesus God.
Like 8 years of this SWAT.
And
we got a year and a half of the original.
It's not that good.
I love the original. 8 years of the new version of SWAT.
It's not that good. I've watched it. It's painful. We don't need Melrose Place.
Now, of course, I've talked about the fact that I do have a trial of Apple TV Plus, and I am trying to work on getting through season 1 of Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. And of course, it has been renewed for season 2, and they're talking about spin-offs as well. So more monsters, Godzilla, more monsters.
And there you go.
Which I find interesting that Apple TV gets the right to TV Godzilla, but Warner Brothers and Max, when this new Godzilla Kong movie, the new Empire, that's going to go to Max.
And where the
not to Apple, but Apple gets the TV rights. And where's Godzilla?
It was Godzilla 1.
Yeah.
Where does that fall?
I haven't heard anything about that, and when that's going to be
That's
on streaming.
The one I want to see. I don't want this campy Warner Brothers bullshit.
I know people that saw that and said that is unbelievable.
I want serious Godzilla.
Because it's Godzilla -1, and then the black and white is Godzilla -0, I think.
Yeah. I want those, damn it.
Now, we didn't do a book review this week, but I know you like to read, and you like to read Jean Le Carre.
I have read some of his stuff.
The Night Manager was a great, great show on AMC. I think it came through the BBC.
Yes.
With Hugh Laurie and Tom Hiddleston, of course, Loki. Been renewed for 2 seasons. Coming back.
Really?
This time on Amazon Prime.
I only watched 1 episode.
I liked it. I didn't finish it, but I liked it.
Good.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have to go back.
Play catch up on that. Yep. Now, personally for me, I love the new Star Trek Strange New Worlds with Anson Mount from Hell on Wheels as Christopher Pike. Season 3 is coming in 2025, and they've already renewed it for season 4. So,
well, there you go.
That should tell you. The fan reaction has been pretty positive for that one.
And why wouldn't it be with Anson Mount?
Well, because it harkens back to the original. It is not this PC bullshit that they've been putting out with Picard. You know, Patrick Stewart's a raging douchebag trying to force his anti-Trump sentiments into Star Trek stories and shows. Just unbelievable garbage.
It doesn't work.
But this one is more the old school 60s Kirk
the
Spock
good vibe.
And of course, Spock is in this, younger Spock. And then finally, we've been talking about video game adaptations and shows. I'm going to test your knowledge, Dave, before we move on to Moments of Silence. We're going to go back before PlayStation.
Are we going back to Atari?
We're going back to the Sega Genesis. Comedy Central has ordered an animated series based on the game Golden Axe.
Oh, for the love of all that's holy.
Golden Axe.
Good Lord.
And of course, this will be...
Oh my God.
This will probably be a raunchy spoof.
That was the 4-player run through. You had the 3 guys and the woman, and you running through everything.
Yep.
Yeah, I put a few quarters into that game.
Yep. Golden Axe will be coming to Comedy Central, and again, probably be a raunchy.
Is this going to be a Danny McBride?
No Danny McBride.
Will it have what's his?
But there's I guess one of the characters is a troll, and I guess he has very bad personal hygiene, is what the write-up said. Hopefully, this will be like an Agent Elvis, since they took Agent Elvis away from us.
Bastards! That should have freaking been renewed. That was a left or right.
I love that show. I absolutely
Agent Elvis was brilliant. And I want to know, how did they get back to Earth from space? Damn it.
Yeah, they should never have taken that away from us. They renew all sorts of garbage. Why couldn't they renew Agent Elvis? Netflix, you've got the money. God damn it.
We want Agent Elvis. Frickin' Terriers, it's gone. You can't do it. It's lost. Agent Elvis is still recent enough. Bring it, baby.
I guess we're going to have to just settle for Golden Axe, Dave. All right, real quick, one moment of silence in the world of pop culture and entertainment, and then we move on to our new format for the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week. We have 7 contestants this week in pop culture and entertainment.
Which of them will be the ultimate winner?
Now, one moment of silence, as I mentioned. It's not a big one. I hate to even acknowledge the news media, and we'll get to them a little bit more in the dumbasses, but kind of a big one, especially for Dave and I, our age group growing up. Back when PBS actually mattered because we only had 4 channels. ABC, CBS, NBC, and PBS. We had the McNeil-Lehrer Report. And, of course, Robert McNeil, one of the 2 men on the show, passed away.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Now, this is not to be confused, going back to SNL with the McLaughlin round table. Next issue!
Next! Now, we covered it in the sports edition. I think we would be remiss if we did not cover it in the weekend edition because of the pop culture references, but O.J. Simpson passed. Good riddance, as we said.
Burn in hell.
Burn in hell.
Burn in hell.
Screw you, Norberg, you piece of human refuse.
There we go. We did our due diligence.
So if you want the full effect, check out the sports edition, which dropped on Thursday.
Yeah, a little more detail on why we hate him so much.
Yes.
Hated him so much. All right, Dave. 7 contestants this week.
Who will be the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week?
Let's start off with an unnamed, because it's a minor, an unnamed New York high school student. Now, we all screwed around and we had our pranks and we had our fun and we were sent to the principal's office on occasion.
We've all done stupid things.
But a New York high school student recently took things to a different level. Including, among other hijinks, faxing in the resignation for his principal to the school board. But here's the part. In and of itself, that's great, right? Here's the part that earns him a nomination for the Dumbass of the Week. When he faxed in the resignation for his principal, on the cover sheet, the dumbass put his own cell phone number.
Oh, God, you idiot.
Hence and therefore,
oh my God,
easy to track him down.
You had one of the most brilliant senior class pranks of all time, and that is an epic fail.
Yeah, he blew it. Again,
he blew it harder than a porn star.
We talked about this on the sports edition, not blowing as hard as a porn star, but criminals, you're never going to succeed. They're going to catch you.
Because you're just stupid.
Yes.
It's in the details, people.
All right, now this next one is one following up from last week I mentioned, but now it has been confirmed. Maybe it's a little personal for me, so I apologize. This past weekend, of course, the big #1 movie, Civil War. The cast shows up on The View and confirms what I told you people last week. The quote is, this film, Civil War, is, quote, a love letter to journalism, unquote. Journalists are destroying our world. They are not any part of any sort of noble profession. They are the lowest scum fucks in the world. And I get tired of people acting like journalists are some kind of high integrity gods and goddesses we should worship.
Damn Ted Turner to hell for creating the 24-hour news cycle.
All right, let's talk about American colleges next. In general, the whole kit and caboodle, the whole shooting gallery. A recent study shows, and this blows me away,
the cost of college education.
No cost. I mean, that's been out of control for decades. But it's what they're teaching. And now what is mandated. A recent study shows that 2/3 of colleges in the United States mandate, this means they're required courses, you must take a DEI course to graduate. Diversity, equity, inclusion. They are forcing college students now to take a course of DEI curriculum in order to graduate. Doesn't matter if you're going to business school, doesn't matter if you're an engineer, a lawyer.
It should be brought up within each school, but it should not be a mandated class. It has to be acknowledged that everybody is different, but it should not be driven down your throat in that way.
You handle this stuff much better than I can't stand this crap. You are much more in tune with this stuff. I can't stand it. To me, it's forced racism is what it is. It's forced reverse racism.
I hate the thought that you are mandating a course to have to take for it. And it needs to be acknowledged that there are all these different people that you have to deal with. But it should not be a fucking mandated course. It's common fucking sense.
And again, depending on the school you're going to, I knew when I went to a Catholic school, even though I'm not Catholic, I knew I was going to have to take theology classes in order to graduate. But this stuff is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Like you said, it's common sense.
You acknowledge, yes, there are many people with different views, backgrounds, and whatever, but it should not have to be a mandated class.
All right, we love Billy Joel, right? We love Billy Joel.
Joel's CBS
awesome. If you have not heard,
this is Heidi Part 2.
Oh, I've heard people say you can't call it that. I can call it that because it's what it is. And this goes back to the whole hatred of journalism thing, by the way. If you have not heard, this past Sunday, you cannot watch the re-airing because by the time this episode drops, it's already re-aired. But this past Sunday, CBS made a big deal about we're going to show you Billy Joel's 100th performance at Madison Square Garden of his legendary residency. Now, the Masters went long, bumping the start back. For anybody else, I swear to God, for anybody else, if they want to show a new episode of the fucking Equalizer, they're going to show the whole thing. But for some reason, because it's a Billy Joel concert and they can cut it and edit it where they see fit, they decide we have to go to local news at 11.
Boom. Hard stop. When do they ever do that? When you have any sporting event that runs long, everything is always pushed back. God forbid they fucked up with this.
Yeah, they cut the episode, the concert in the middle of Piano Man.
In the middle, stopped, done.
And I've heard assholes saying, well, you can go online and listen to Piano Man whenever you want. That's not the point! And I swear to God, I am so tired of hearing about how important local news is. I literally don't know anybody under the age of 65 who is obsessed with watching the news locally. That's what the internet is for. You want to look at the weather? You go on the internet and look at the fucking radar. You want to see the local news up to the minute? You go on the internet. Why do you have to sit there and watch the local news and the dipshit talking heads who couldn't make it in drama class? So they're stuck at podunk you reporting to you about the eagles nesting in the tower downtown. Who the fuck cares about the local news anymore? Nobody watches sports locally anymore.
No.
That's all ESPN.
It was just bad form all around.
Like I said, they decided to re-air it. It was Friday
because
night.
Of the outcry. As you're listening to this, it was last night.
Yeah. But God, like you said, they never would have done this with anything else. Like I said, they would never do this with The Equalizer. They would show an entire episode and push the local news back.
Could you imagine the outrage if it was a Beyonce or Taylor Swift concert that they cut short?
Exactly. Oh, Dave, great segue. Great segue, dude.
You're welcome.
It's time to talk about one of the most ridiculously overrated, overhyped human beings in the history of music. That would be Courtney Love.
Oh, you mean Kurt Cobain's murderess?
Yeah, and somehow she still thinks she's relevant. And in a recent interview with...
Just crawl back into your hole! Yeah, see what I did there?
I like that. Yes, I like that. In a recent interview with some rag, because I guess she's promoting some minor series that she's narrating about music. She's asked for her thoughts on the current state of music. Courtney Love. This is Courtney Love saying this.
The strung out psycho bitch.
Botched plastic surgery. If you haven't seen.
Oh, and did I mention the one who killed her husband, Kurt Cobain?
But then again, we wouldn't have gotten the Foo Fighters.
That's true.
She hates Dave Grohl, by the way, too.
Because Grohl was more talented.
But when it comes to women's music, Taylor Swift is, quote, not important, unquote. I, quote, don't like Madonna
who does?
Or Beyonce's music at all.
Hey, Courtney, why don't you throw another syringe in your elbow?
Hot shot.
Please.
And our long national nightmare, please. You don't do enough. You don't warrant a seat on the plane of doom because you're not that important.
You were always irrelevant.
But the fact that you are saying Taylor Swift is not important, and you don't like Madonna, and you don't like Beyonce's music, all three of those women, and I don't like Madonna, but all three of those women have accomplished
way more than you could ever even dream of.
My God, shut your pie hole and go away. Oh, here's another loudmouth chick with a face that looks like the Joker. Yes, I'm talking about Katie Couric. Oh, she is ugly. She is one ugly woman. But again, she's a journalist, Dave. And again, she's got to toe the company line, so in a recent discussion with Bill Maher. She's got to, again, toe the company line. This stupid way to just insult half of society. Trump voters are driven by, quote, class resentment and anti-intellectualism, unquote. Basically, this is her word garbled, mashed way of saying Trump voters are all stupid. Anti-intellectualism.
That sounds like a made-up word.
So the genius is saying that if you dare vote for Trump, you hate smart people, ergo, therefore, you're stupid. And you know how much I love people who tell me what the fuck to think and what to do. I'll vote for whoever the fuck I want to, fish face. You don't get to say that I'm an anti-intellectual.
Because all the intellectuals are going to vote for the conquistador.
Yeah, when does the campaign start? Is it up and running yet, or?
It will be shortly.
If you guys don't know, Dave runs for president on a write-in ballot every 4 years. He does. So get out there and vote for the conquistador.
I have voted for myself since, oh my God, since 2020? No, 2000.
We can do more. Vote for the conquistador.
That's right.
I'm just putting that. That's just
put a poll in the Oval Office.
Well, we came up with that. We actually had campaign posters for you years ago.
Yep.
We had 4 or 5 of them. That was one of them. Yep.
Yeah, Sarah Palin was going to be the undersecretary. She was going to be the secretary under the Resolute desk.
Oh, those were good days. Good times.
Why do I write myself in? Because I'm the only one that I trust to do anything sane.
And I, of course, will be Secretary of Prostitutes.
Secretary of State.
Secretary of Prostitutes. What do you... State? No. I will have my permanent desk will not be in the White House. It will be the Chicken Ranch out in Las Vegas. We've talked about this, Dave. Jesus God.
You at least have to put on
Stop
hairs.
acting like Joe Biden. Finally, this is a little lightweight, dumbass, the last one, before we make our final decision. But it's still just disgusting. It's disgusting. Heinz has released an official limited edition barbecue sauce called Barbecue. It is a pink mayonnaise and barbecue sauce colored with some kind of beet extract to turn it pink.
Yeah, but what does it taste like?
I don't even want to know. Does it taste like Barbies? Is it plastic? I mean,
is it plastic? They're just no.
Is it Margot Robbie? I can deal with that, maybe.
They're just no. There's just
a pinch between your cheek and gum. I'll be sure to buy you a case for Christmas, dude.
Oh, no. I'm good.
So, Heinz, Katie Couric, Courtney Love, CBS, the cast of Civil War, our college mandates across the country, and that New York high school student. I think I know where you're going to go, but...
I have to go with CBS.
Okay, you're going with CBS.
I'm going with CBS. It's just egregious.
I agree with you. But again, a lot of people seem to think we're overreacting. we are bigger music fans than most of them, obviously, and we understand the nature of this transgression more than they do.
It's Heidi
Go
all
online
over
and
again.
watch Piano Man. What's the big deal? The big deal is nothing should be preempted for the late
news.
Local news. I'm going to go with the high school kid. I'm going with the high school kid.
There we go.
The fact that he put
his
own number on the fact sheet.
Dude, you idiot.
Now, the only thing I can think of with that is that maybe he wanted them to call him instead of
the principal.
Right. And he could pretend to be the principal. Yes, I am
resigning.
Yes. Maybe that was the reason why.
Maybe that's it, so we could take it to that level. But why?
They're still going to track it.
But why would you not have bought a burner and used the burner number?
There you go. Put a burner on there so that it tracks to unknown. At least it goes to unknown and not to you.
Yeah, you get a burner and put that number on there. See, we know how to do this.
Yep, we could have pulled this off so much better. But that's why he's the conquistador, Dave Heights.
And he's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
We talked about the fact that we are going to review Argyle next week. We've got Pearl Jam.
We have the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
So plenty of fun stuff for you next week on the weekend edition. As always, your Saturday morning politically incorrect pop culture hangover cure. And until we talk to you again in 7 days, say goodnight to the kids, Dave.
Good night to the kids, Dave.